The Sony AirPeak drone. Now, obviously, this will be perfect for the A7S Mark III. At least I'm thinking. What's up, you guys? This is Devin with CenturyFX Studios, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Sony AirPeak drone. Now, this is very, very interesting. This is probably one of my favorite Sony moves of all. To know that Sony will be having a drone to compete with DJI is really, really, really cool. And the reason why is because, for those of you who don't know, the drone market is pretty much just DJI. It's just DJI this, the Mavic, the this Pro, this Pro, this Pro. DJI, since they're the only ones on the market, you get the highs and lows of DJI. Yeah, you got GoPro and all these other drones, but they're in no way as good as DJI as far as selling drones and drones with like gimbal features on them. So let's get into what makes this drone a great drone, in my opinion, and why I think this is one of the best Sony moves that they've ever done. Now, before we get into things, affiliate links in the description below. Find whatever camera that you're going to purchase, go to my links below, purchase them using my links below, or if you're going to look up something that I've talked about, use the affiliate links below because I get a commission back. It helps the channel out. It helps me help you with these videos. Come on, help out. You know, it's no effort but to click. Just click it in the link below. If you're gonna buy a camera like the A7S III, R5, any of these new mirrorless full frame cameras, or you're thinking about looking up the specs, just click the affiliate links below and it helps out the channel. Also, my Patreon, if you really want to give back to the channel, be a patron, help out the channel, make sure we get what we need. Maybe I can even start getting cameras up here and I can really do some testing, like your Tony Northups and your Jared Paulins and your Manny Ortizes and everybody else, your Matt Grangers and everything like that. All right, so there are 4 main reasons why this is a good move for Sony, because of what DJI does not have. Since they're the top competitor in the market, everybody is going with the highs and lows of DJI. If they have it, we're good, we got it. But if they don't got it, nobody else got it. So I'm talking about 4K. If DJI didn't have 4K, nobody had. If 8K, DJI ain't got it, nobody else got it. But now, since Sony is entering the market, Sony has 8K. I've seen their new Alpha 1 they're talking about right now in the news, and they got 8K. If they put the Alpha 1 on that new camera or that new drone, it's a wrap for DJI. If they put it at a decent price, or an A7R Mark IV, something that's a decent price DSLR or SLR camera or mirrorless camera. Sony does mirrorless, they don't do DSLRs. If they put a nice mirrorless full frame camera on that drone, it is a wrap for DJI. Now, DJI does not really have any competition, like I said, so if they come in, I think they're gonna take over the market. DJI does not really focus on image quality, so that is a big thing. They don't really focus as much as the camera companies focus on image quality, and they don't have as much image quality technology. Now, I'm not saying they're not doing a good job with their image quality. DJI has some amazing drones, but here's the thing. They're the only ones in the market, so there's no competition. So since there's no competition in that sector of the market, then they're not pushing image quality. They're not pushing themselves to the max of image quality and they're not investing the most in image quality. It's just, okay, whatever they get to next based off of, you know, what they can do, their technology, their possibilities, that's what we have. But since Sony already have sensors that can do a lot more than DJI sensors on their cameras, then it's a big deal. Now, back when DJI had its first drone, they didn't have a camera with it, I don't think. I think they paired it with like the GoPro. And the GoPro was okay at the time, and it distorted the image, and a lot of people weren't used to that. And so a lot of people wanted to find alternatives with lenses. And now you got cameras that you can put lenses on drones now with. So now that Sony's entering the game with a whole bunch of lenses that, you know, DJI don't got, that's a big thing. Like, DJI doesn't have this big long array of lenses that you can put on, or no fast primes, no fast lenses that can not only be great on image quality and bokeh, but it can be lightweight. It can, you see what I'm saying? And they were designed for the camera. That's 2 big steps that DJI has not really attempted. And now Sony has some of the best low light cameras ever invented. A7S, especially for the price. I don't know nothing about the bigger cameras that I can't afford, but I'm saying Sony got some good low light quality. I'm talking about $2,000. You can get a really, really good A7S, A7S Mark II, A7S Mark III with some of the class leading low quality for most cameras. So, I mean, I gotta say, Sony got the low light on deck. So when you trying to get something from higher up and you trying to look down, you can probably do it at night. And that's going to be amazing. That's something that DJI has not really mastered yet. Doing something at night, drone stuff. Now, you might not be able to see the drone. Sony might have to do something about that. They got cameras that can go to 1 million ISO, but you can't see the drone and the camera's still filming. So that's something funny I never thought about before. But yeah, so one thing you also have to understand is it's going to have a big sensor, a bigger sensor than anything that DJI also has. Well, then you're going to have to also understand that DJI don't got the big sensors that Sony got. So with big sensors come big technology. Now, they can even have smaller sensors that are still bigger than DJI sensors. So with that being said, you can then use crop frame sensors, or you can crop a full frame camera in camera and still get a lot more possibilities than the DJI has. Now, I'm pretty sure DJI probably was going through some digital zooming at some point where Sony's all optical, baby. It could be all optical, and then on the back end they can add digital zoom if they needed to, but you might as well just crop and post because the image quality is so strong with Sony. It's way stronger than anything DJI is probably going to ever bring out to the market. And then think about it this way. You got IBIS inside those Sony sensors. If you're able to actually put a Sony camera up in the air with a Sony drone, you can have like IBIS on it already built in. Almost all their cameras have IBIS. Even their camcorders have internal image stabilization where it counteracts every motion that you do. So not only is it going to be smoother, and it's gonna be amazing to see like the footage that comes out of this, because I saw them using it in the video, in the commercial. I didn't see it, and it was wow. Now noticing that Sony's cameras are all bricks and they all look the same, you can't really tell exactly what Sony they had. I'm assuming it was a Sony A7S III because that was the most popular camera on the market, but it could be a Sony A9 Mark II. It could be a Sony Alpha 1, A1, and it could be shooting 8K up there. You'd think that if they came out with a new drone and they're just now talking about the Sony A1 that's about to come out in a couple of months, that they're probably going to have the Sony A1 up there shooting 8K. And then they're going to smack us over the head with it when we're ready for it. So, because Canon did throw into the market with the Eos-r 5, but having a drone market is way different than anything Canon has. So this is a big leap for Sony. A camera with 4K, 6K, and 8K, and potential to have all of these images scaled down to a 1080p file format, making it sharper than almost anything that DJI might have on the market. That's crazy. And then you have this ability to have an 8K camera in the sky. That's crazy. A lot of even cinema cameras don't shoot 8K, let alone autofocus as well as a Sony can. You know, and then having these big camera sensors, then having the ability to autofocus with it is going to be unparalleled on the DJI side. If Sony can come to the market and make a lot of them, and make a lot of them cheap, like give us a lot of variations of them, that will be amazing. Like having a mini Sony drone, and then instead of having the mirrorless camera on there, have a mirrorless camera just designed for the drone that's a lot cheaper, that may not give you as many specs as an A9 or A9 Mark II or A1, but gives you exactly what you want for droning and having the same low light, focus capabilities, bokeh, full frame image quality. That would be crazy. Also, note that Sony has come out with this new anti-flicker technology where it doesn't flicker for that mirrorless full frame cameras anymore. And they also have come out with new technology that counteracts any kind of sensor readout issues. So you have that rolling shutter effect where everything that was supposed to be straight comes out, instead of it being straight, it would be more like a wobbly line, like somebody's shooting, golfing or anything like that. Sony has rectified a lot of those issues. So now when they go into the drone market, they're not worried about the drone whipping and having terrible lines. So they're probably going to have newer cameras that highlight this technology. And to be honest, the way Sony is operating now, it seems like Sony had this already in mind, because they didn't come out. If they had drone ideas, I was thinking, why didn't they come out with a drone before? Like if they had drone ideas and drone technology and they were thinking about coming out with it, why not come out with them when you had, they had like an accident, like a tragedy happening in the main Sony factories and stuff like that. So I'm not going to put this against them, but it's very interesting to see now that they have rolling shutter technology, that counteracts rolling shutter. They have now anti-flicker technology, all this stuff that would be a big issue if you were in a drone, like, that's crazy to know that Sony had so much foresight to have all of this stuff done and come into the drone market knowing that DJI has no real competition. That's crazy, and it's a great idea for Sony. Also, a high resolution camera is extremely valuable if you put it in the air. Now, if you're shooting, portraits of somebody in a regular situation, like with the Eos-r 5. Now, this is going against the Eos-r 5, so I'm biased when I say this. But when you're shooting 8K in a regular situation, maybe portrait style, 85 millimeters, 70 millimeters, 200 millimeters, or 50 millimeters, anything, or 24 millimeters, anything in the regular, like, on land world that we live in, R5 got it in space. Okay, 8K, yeah, you can crop in, awesome. But if you put a camera in the sky and it's 8K, you can really crop in to see what's down there. So 8K is 10 times more valuable than it is in the sky than it is on the ground, because 8K on the ground, yeah, you can get a lens to supplement, things that you can't reach, but you really can't get a lens to supplement in the air, because it'll add more weight to the drone, and the drone will start to wiggle and eventually fall down and run into a tree or become unbalanced or whatever. You see what I'm saying? It will make the drone bigger. The bigger the drone, the more threatening it becomes, and everybody want to run away. So you don't want to have a big drone. So if you have a big sensor on there that can, supplement the not having a 70-200 on that drone, then that's amazing. So having 8K, 9K, 10K, any K that you can get in your video that makes it easier for you to use your drone is amazing. And Sony just came out with 8K with the A1, so therein lies 8K is amazing on a drone if they can do that, which it seems like they can. Now, that's not the only thing that Sony can bring to the table. They can bring in high megapixels. They can bring in, like I said, 8K. They can bring in slow motion. All this stuff, like slow motion at high frame rates, 120. Now, of course, DJI has their own versions of that and everything like that. But if they have a drone camera, their priorities are going to change for their video capabilities. So they might be saying, oh, well, we got a drone now. We might want to focus a little bit more on video and give them 240, like the Sony RX series that has like higher frame rates that you never thought about because the other cameras focused on something else. Like 240 frames a second, 920 frames a second, whatever else they might go up as a multiple. It's great for a drone to have. It is amazing for a drone to have that ability to slow down video. All these specs Sony has been working on for years, which DJI they have been working on it, but just not to that extent because they're not competing in that Canon versus Nikon market with mirrorless and full frame and all this other stuff that cameras now have. All right, so now I want to get into the pros and cons in a large sense for Sony. You can have lenses on your camera. You can have a big camera. You can have cameras of varying sizes on the drone. You can also control the price of your Sony because you have so many cameras you can just spit at. You can get that fan base on your side if you're Sony more than anything else, because there's a lot of fans out there for Sony, and now since Sony has done this mirrorless whole revolution, a lot of people are like, Sony's the first who can do that. So now since Sony's the first to do a drone, they have the market's eye, just like Canon had it with 8K. Now they're gonna have a whole nother market of different cameras or different drones to spit at you, not just one new mirrorless full frame camera that was slow to get to the market, even though the R5 is an amazing camera. Here's some cons that Sony got to work on. Now, depending on how this is, you might have this drone house Sony, like they might hold Sony cameras only, or you might be able to put any camera on this drone that you want. I would think that they will make it just Sony proprietary, like you can only put Sony cameras, like the Sony camera comes with the drone, that kind of thing. Or you might only have like a proprietary port that connects only to Sony cameras and this, that, and the other. But it seems like if it's the case where you can only put Sony cameras on there, this is great for Sony because Sony can kind of hog the market. If this is a drone that you can put an R5 on, it'll bring a lot more market to Sony drones, but it won't bring as much market to Sony cameras because Canon sells more cameras. Does that make sense? Since Canon sells more cameras and they're more popular in sales, even with the mirrorless M50, you know, and the R5, like it's more sold R5s than A7S III. So I'm just taking it in the future. Canon's gonna kind of take that market over, especially since all you have to do is convert your EF, EFS lenses for that new RF system. So I'm saying you'll have popular Sony drones, but you won't have popular Sony cameras. And I think Sony cameras are what drives Sony to stay in the camera market. So I think Sony needs to have it as proprietary as possible to only Sony cameras. So that could be a con in and of itself. Now you can potentially damage a Sony camera with a Sony lens attached to it in mid-air. This is terrible. You do not want to damage one of those big lenses, let alone the camera. The lens is going to probably be more expensive because Sony lenses are still pretty pricey because they had to bring a lot onto the market in a short span of time. So the prices haven't really went down and lenses don't really lose their value. So if it's like hundreds and hundreds of feet in the air, you don't want to have it crash into a tree and fall down. I don't know if Sony drones have parachutes, but they might want to think about having parachutes for their drones if something goes wrong. And harm to the public. Like I said, a lot of people don't want to see a big drone because they're dangerous. On the news, they're known to be dangerous because of what drones do. So if they see one with a camera on it, or they see a big drone in general, you can't bring this around everywhere. So a lot of people are going to want to push you to get more licensing for drones. A lot of, governments are going to want licensing on drones, making sure you know what you're doing. If you're flying a drone, make sure you don't harm anybody in the public, this kind of thing. And with something as big as a DSLR on there, I saw the commercial. They had like 2 thick batteries going in that drone. That means they're going to be carrying a lot of weight, and it's going to go on for a long period of time. They're going to need some kind of safety measures, and this is going to be hard for people to get into this market if they don't have the drone license or whatever they need to fly the drone, which affects sales. So, with all that being said, the AirPeak drone is an amazing idea for Sony. I love the fact that they went into this market and they are competing with DJI, because I was thinking about getting a Mavic at one point, thinking about adding that to my skills, because I've flown a drone, I know how to fly drones, but I haven't really gotten into it because I don't have a drone that I'm used to quite yet. But I'm Devin with CenturyFX Studios. Like I said, if you see any cameras, maybe the AirPeak drone is out and I have an affiliate link for it. Any affiliate links to these cameras are in the below. It supports the channel. Patreon, go to the Patreon, subscribe to the Patreon. I'm still getting that together. I haven't done it before, but I have one up for you guys to go to support the channel. Make sure you're supporting me on all fronts, making sure that this channel stays alive. If you watch this video, like I said, if you have the thought of buying a camera, you want to buy an A7S III, go to the affiliate link below and get a little bit of commission. It helps me out, or Canon R5, because those suckers are sold out, I think. But check and see if it's not sold out with the affiliate link below, and make sure you support the channel. Devin with CenturyFX Studios. Let me know your thoughts, comments, subscribe, like, all this stuff, and I'll see you on the next video.